Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Ru Yi. I'm so sorry I've been away for such a long time. I'm currently doing my pupillage and it's all kind of crazy right now. I've been receiving some emails showing appreciation on the last video that I did and asking for the questions about bar school. So I thought I might just make a video addressing all the common questions. The first question for all of you out there who are in the process of applying for bar school, I mean, it's already July, so it's probably a bit late for me to address this question, but just in case you are still there at the stage, for me personally, I can only speak for the application process for the three big providers, BPP, Uni of Law, and also City Law School. I applied to all three and all three only. In terms of Uni of Law, I think they are known to be one of the most stringent one in their application process. I applied through an agent and the agent was helping a lot of students apply, and I was told that the highest rejection rate is Uni of Law, followed by BPP, and nobody she was helping was rejected by City, so I assume the acceptance rate for City is the highest. Okay, in terms of Uni of Law, the application process involves in-person interview or an online interview, but it's with a real person. I had to do a mitigation submission. So basically how it works is they schedule an interview and 45 minutes or an hour, I can't really remember. I think 45 minutes before the interview, they will send a case paper via email to you, or if you're there in person, they will just give it to you in advance, and you have to prepare a mitigation submission on the spot. And then when the interview starts, you would start with the submission followed by your interview. During the interview, I was asked if I smoke, and I said no, and the interviewer said, okay, well, neither do I, so persuade me to smoke. And the second question that I was asked during my Uni of Law interview was to come up with arguments for both sides for the debate of whether or not marijuana should be legalized. What else? Oh yeah, for the benefit of everyone, I have a copy of sample interview questions that was sent by Uni of Law to my email because I subscribed to their newsletter, which I think would be helpful. They have questions like why the bar, why do you want to be a barrister,
What other careers have you considered? Work experience, strengths and weaknesses, legal discussion topics.
yeah, you can look through that. Oh yeah, it is in this folder, persuade me to start or stop smoking. Should all drugs be legalized? So it's all here. I guess if you come up with an answer for every single question on this document, you probably ace the Uni of Law interview. So that is Uni of Law. In terms of the teaching quality, well, let's just say that, well, before this whole video started, I should probably just put out a disclaimer out there that it's probably going to be very biased because, well, I am from City Law School and I don't really have much experience with pure Uni of Law. So whatever I say, please do your due diligence. Okay, but in terms of the teaching quality at Uni of Law, I asked a friend of mine on how is the teaching and resources provided. She thought they had very helpful and communicative tutors in terms of study tools and resources during the course, and in comparison with City Bar School, I would say City Bar School wins by far. I followed up by asking her how is the quality of teaching and the method of delivery as well as the structure of the course. She said experienced teachers with a style that's more of testing students than lecturing. She finds that method of delivery to be very stressful on an already stressful course. The structure of the modules makes sense at the end, but it's rather convoluted. While to be fair, I would say the same for City Law School. Experienced teachers, they don't lecture you, which I don't think they're supposed to anyways. It's a tutorial and it's a master's level course. They really do expect you to put in 120% of effort in your pre-readings and your preparations, and they're just there to assist you in your learning during the tutorials, and they will give you as much resources as you need, but you would have to put in the work to make sense of the resources, really understand it inside out, and you need to do the groundwork basically. The structure of the modules for City, I would say I could see that they are really trying very hard for the structure to make sense, because the modules are in a way interrelated. They say this week in civil litigation, you are learning about summary judgment or strikeout. Perhaps in the next week in your civil advocacy, they will try their best for the case papers to be a strikeout application. But sometimes it wouldn't work, because for civil advocacy, we're split into two groups of 6. So this week I will be doing my civil advocacy class, and next week you will be doing it, even though we're in the same group. So it wouldn't always be the case where you get to learn it in civil litigation first and then you get to practice it in civil advocacy. Sometimes it might be the other way around, where you have to study beforehand, know the test, learn the test, understand everything before your civil advocacy class, and then the next week in civil litigation you learn about the legal test properly. So it doesn't always work out, but you can see that they are trying their very best to put it as close as possible so that you understand it better and you don't forget about the tests and things like that. So that's about Uni of Law. In terms of the application process for BPP, for my batch we had to it was a recorded video interview. I wouldn't really call it an interview, because it's just to record a 2 minutes worth of discussion. You can choose any topic of your choice and you have to discuss it for a maximum of 2 minutes, and then you will have to download an app, and then you will have to upload the video onto the app. In terms of the teaching quality and resources, I really genuinely cannot say much. The only thing I know about BPP and their bar course was that I think there were some hiccups between students and BPP, but that was because it was the start of COVID and there was a document circulating where it was a joint letter from the Students' Associations of the Inns of Court dated 15 December 2020, where they wrote to the BPP Law School about their dissatisfactions. Things such as the quality of online teaching, the professional ethics exam being scheduled way too early, and inconsistent and inaccurate communications. Well, I will link it below so that you can read, but I'm sure that this will have changed. And my friend who did the LPC at BPP said that she didn't have such problems and she genuinely enjoyed doing the LPC at BPP. So just check with your seniors on how their experience is like. I have heard seniors that genuinely do enjoy their experience, but yeah, just out there for you to decide for yourself. Next, in terms of City Law School, how is the teaching like in City? Are the teachers the sort who care for you and really push you to the fullest to be the best and get you to pass well? I think that would be the case for all providers unless it's a really bad one. But yes, I would say generally I was lucky enough to get very, very experienced and very tutors who just care about you, not just in terms of academic but also in terms of life, where one student is visibly falling behind everybody else. One of my tutors, which our personal tutor, would schedule a one-to-one meeting to catch up and to make sure that this student is doing okay. I guess it's also a particularly sensitive times because it was the start of COVID, so they really want to make sure everybody is okay doing such a difficult course alone, basically. Oh, and in terms of whether or not the tutors care, I would say yes. Tutors really do understand that the bar course isn't easy, and for my criminal advocacy, the tutor of my criminal advocacy tutor, she scheduled so many extra classes weeks before the exam, the official assessment, so that she can teach us more, especially in terms of practical examples or things from her experience being a criminal barrister that wouldn't fit into the time slot of our usual classes. And attending all those classes is very important. I learned a lot from those extra classes. So if your tutor is good enough to offer, please make use of it and just attend. In terms of support from the lecturers, I would say 70 to 80% is self-study. preparing for the classes, pre-readings. 20, 25, a maximum of 30% is the support from your tutors and the school. What would you say the pros and cons of doing the bar course at City Law School? I can't really say in person because mine was 100% online. I can only compare how City did the adoption of online classes as compared to the other providers. I would say that they did a pretty good job, and the IT support was very responsive. All you need to do is email them, and most of the time they will reply within minutes even. The only drawback I could think of for my batch was because I did it in another country. I didn't fly into the UK because it was the start of COVID, and with all the uncertainty and with all the classes being online, I just didn't see the need to fly back. And so City had to ship the books to us all over the world, and that amounted to some form of delays. So I think my white book probably reached me 3 weeks after the start of the course. So by the time I was already used to using the online resources, to using white book on Westlaw, and when the white book, the physical copy of the white book arrived, I just didn't bother opening it. And by the time assessment comes about, my white book and my Blackstone was squeaky clean, no notes, no nothing. And that was when I panicked and realized, well, I didn't have enough time now. But it's also my fault because the tutor reminded us again and again and again and again to highlight and to make notes. I just didn't appreciate the importance and significance of that. The management at City is also very efficient, very understanding. I remember for one of the assessment, my specialism papers, I think we were given 2 weeks to do it, and I got shingles in the midst of that. So I went and get an MC and a doctor's letter and asked for a 3 days extension for my submission. And the assessment team was kind enough to give me a week extension, even though I asked for just 3 days. And they said, please just take a week to go and rest and do it when you're in your best form. So I really, really appreciated that because I genuinely needed that extra time. And another reason City, as compared to the other providers, why I chose City is, they gave a £3,000 rebate if you have a first class honours in your degree, and I wanted a campus life, which I didn't get to experience because I didn't even fly back and all the classes were online, so that didn't really apply to me. And lastly, when are exams usually held and how are the timetable like? I'll attach a document, well, 2 documents. One is the BVS term dates so that you can kind of see how the course is structured. And the other is the assessment timetable where you will see it is spread across January all the way till April. I would say the bar course is really a course of determination, and it requires a lot of stamina. It's like a marathon. And then the specialism submissions would be in around June. And then if you take the extra component of the legal clinical education or dissertation, then the submission would be in September. So it's basically January all the way to September. You just have to hang in there. Oh, I understand that you did the LLM plus BVS at City. Just would like to know how was it like juggling the core modules plus elective modules plus dissertation slash clinical legal clinic project. Specifically, would appreciate if you could share with me more about your experience doing the LLM plus bar course and the time commitment for the course in general. I didn't do the dissertation. I chose the clinical legal education CLE. Since uni, I very much enjoy being in pro bono projects because I felt like it was one real thing outside of law school where everything is simulated, even mooting competitions. So I really enjoyed Legal Advice Center and pro bono projects. That's why I chose CLE. I was assigned to the Appeal Clinic, which is a charitable organization that advocates for miscarriage of justice and wrongful convictions. I was lucky enough to be a part of the project relating to the Freshwater Five, which is a case regarding conspiracy to import drugs. And so happenly, when I was in the project was when the Court of Appeal hearing was scheduled. So I had to juggle between keeping up with the case, reading all the materials from trials 10 years ago, leading all the way up to 2021, all the expert materials, to understand the materials, to conduct our own analysis. And I was also given the opportunity to meet up with the experts and the convicts themselves. In terms of experience, as much as I enjoyed the bar course, I would say my biggest takeaway was being a part of the appeal clinic. But at the same time, because it really gave me a real insight into the criminal justice system, and in specific, the world of miscarriage of justice, which I didn't have much understanding of. And so it was really eye-opening, genuinely eye-opening, to be involved in such a high-profile case where it is reported by BBC News, BBC Podcast, all different kinds of news, and everybody is basically talking about it. Time commitment-wise, it depends on how you're gonna approach the bar course and what you envision to get out of it. If you want to do well or be fully prepared for classes, to be 100% prepared with the pre-readings, with the tutorial materials and all that. But I personally think you honestly do not have time to socialize. For me, I think we had 10 hours of classes every week, and my classes were 3 days. So there were 2 days extra plus Saturday and Sunday, 4 days for me to prepare for the 10 hours of classes every week. For each class, it would take me around 8 to 12 hours to prepare. So just imagine 10 hours, each class is 2 hours, so it's 5 different classes. Let's say one class takes me 10 hours. It means 50 hours of preparation. 50 hours divided by 4 days, 12.5 hours of preparation every single day, which is not enough. So with that maths, I don't think you will have social life unless you don't do the readings fully and you do it when we have the semester break, or else it's kind of tough. What else? Let's stop there first, and the next video should probably be how to approach the bar course, and if I have any further study tips that I could share. I'll be thinking about those questions, and I hope this video has been helpful, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
Standing by the wall, but a picture of elegance writing on the stall. Phone number, such a